Hello, everyone. Welcome to Be With You show, where we talk about everything that matters to you. So, today's show is for anybody who is going through a midlife crisis, who knows somebody who is going through a midlife crisis. Maybe your mom, maybe your aunt, maybe your friend, colleague, anyone. Or maybe you are a person, you are a woman in her piece who, maybe is trying to figure out and all the things that she's dealing with. So today we are talking about everything about menopause, and we have a women health and wellness coach for women and who specializes in menopause, and she helps midlife women achieve a healthy second act through movement, nutrition, and mindset. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
So my first question to is, why are women in menopause termed as whiny women? So I am a doctor myself, and sometimes when we used to see a woman in our OPD and she is in her 50s and she is maybe, a little anxious, maybe a little irritated, and it is very common to say, okay, she is in her menopause. So why is it that they are called as whiny women?
I think I'm looking back when I first started going through my own perimenopause journey, I had no idea what I was going through. And so I did notice like my sleep was off, my libido was off, my workouts were like suffering, my endurance. So I was training for a race. I couldn't get my endurance going. I couldn't think of words when I was in the middle of a presentation. I was like, oh my gosh, this doesn't make any sense. And so I just kept sucking it up, sucking it up. And I was finally telling my mom, I'm like, I don't understand what is going on. And she told me, you're probably in perimenopause. And I just was like, what is that? Like, nobody told me that this was going to happen. And so I just kind of felt like I needed to suck it up. And I couldn't complain about it because, okay, this is a natural occurrence. I just have to let nature take its course. And if I'm miserable in the meantime, I guess I just deal with it. And so I do feel like women, when they do express discomfort and they're not sucking it up, they are, being looked at as being whiny or just get over it or you're attention seeking. I also feel like media, TV shows, and I understand a lot of it is sitcoms and, the purpose of a sitcom is to make us laugh, but I feel like a lot of menopausal characters are the, receiving the butt end of the joke. And so I also feel like that doesn't help us when we are expressing these are the concerns I'm having. My joints hurt. I'm not, my workouts don't feel good. I'm not getting any sleep. I'm not getting any support. And they're just looking at us like, why are you complaining? Like, just, be quiet, just march on like a good soldier. And so I do feel like a lot of women feel like they can't say anything because they don't want to be referred to as a whiny woman.
So like you mentioned about perimenopause. So all of us, we know about menopause, but we do not know about perimenopause. It's not very much known. So tell us about.
Well, I know before, as a health coach, I focused on fitness and nutrition. And so I didn't really focus on life changes and how our body changes and how we have to evolve with that. Because I was still in my early 40s. I was feeling great. I was living life. And I knew at some point I would go through menopause, but I was just like thousands of other women that think, well, that's later on in life. And really, that just means my period stops. There might be a couple other changes, but other than that, I didn't realize there was so many components that went along with it. And so when my mom mentioned perimenopause, and I was like, wait a minute, what is that? You've never mentioned that word. I've only heard the word menopause. She said, oh, that's something that comes before. My mom never experienced it because she had a hysterectomy. And I remember being maybe 11 and I was in my own world at 11. So I didn't notice any discomfort that she was going through. She might have been extra cranky. I don't know. I was, doing my own thing as an 11-year-old. And so the word perimenopause was never, a general word that I heard often. So this was new to me. And I was like, wait a minute. I need to figure out what this is. And if it's affecting me, then I know it's affecting my clients that I work with. I know it's affecting my sister. I know it's affecting my best friends. I know it's going to be affecting my daughters. Like, I need to know more about it. And that's really when I went into the deep dive of what is perimenopause, because we do use that umbrella term. And I was shocked to know that there was, when I first started doing the research about 6 years ago, we were told there's 40 plus symptoms. The research I'm doing currently is really talking more close to 70 different symptoms. And so, this was a whole new thing that I had no idea. I just thought, like I said, my menstrual cycle was going to end. I was good to go. I didn't know.
So what are the symptoms of perimenopause? Most common ones.
There's so many. And of course, we always hear the common ones. Weight gain is a big one, because that is a big struggle, and it is very frustrating because you feel like you're doing all the right things. You haven't changed anything in your life. There might be some added stress, but not enough that you're like, wow, this explains it. So weight gain is a really big one. That's one that I noticed. And I share this story all the time. I gained 30 pounds in about 2.5, 3 years. And I was working out, I was eating right. I'm a personal trainer. So I was like, what is going on? My stress level wasn't that high. I didn't feel like it was. And so that's a big one we talk about a lot. Obviously, women know about hot flashes and night sweats. Not everybody gets those. And so when people don't get them, when ladies don't get them, they're thinking, okay, well, I can't be in menopause because I'm not having hot flashes. Not true. There's so many random ones. I didn't realize there was so much that went on with the mouth. Like my gum health changed. Dry mouth all the time. I was like, what is going on? I kept telling my husband, I'm like, I think my tongue is growing. Like, my mouth doesn't feel right. Your teeth can shift. I was getting really bad vertigo. That was new. Like I said, the joint pain, I've never had knee issues. I know a lot of friends that do. My joints were aching all the time. So there's so many different symptoms out there. There's changes in your eyesight. There's changes in your hair, whether it's, the texture changes. Obviously, dryness is a big one. Allergies increases. Your gut microbiome changes. So all of a sudden, you're having digestive issues that you've never suffered from before. A new one that a lot of people I'm noticing are starting to talk about is frozen shoulder. And that's one that people are like, what is going on? Again, all of this is connected because you have that decrease of the estrogen that's going on. So, I mean, we could sit here and list off 70 different symptoms, but it is important to know that it goes beyond hot flashes, mood swings, brain fog. It goes way beyond that.
So we talked about perimenopause, and when we come to
Mhm.
menopause, it is when our ovaries stop functioning really. They are not pumping out estrogen, and the study suggests that receptors for estrogen are present throughout our body. So our whole body can feel those changes. It's not just a reproductive system. So
Right.
tell us that when does the menopause really set in? Because it is not like a year after you stop getting your period, which is a
Right. So,
definition. Yeah.
yes, I was going to say a lot of people, like I said, have that umbrella term of menopause. And I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, but menopause really is that one day, one moment in time, which is kind of awesome. And that is the day when you've gone 12 consecutive months, 365 days without a period. Then you are menopausal.
Mm.
Then you go right into postmenopausal. And the thing a lot of people don't understand is um, you're in postmenopause for the rest of your life. So it's not like all of a sudden a light switch, flips back on and everything is gone. You're still struggling with the decrease of your hormones. And you're still going to see some of those, issues like brain fog or mood swings or just achy joints or whatever it is. So it's not like we get away from it. But as far as like the menopause day, I always tell people, and I know for some people it's hard. Some women are like, man, that means it's the end of my childbearing years. And if you're still looking forward to having children, that is a hard thing to deal with. For other women like myself, who I've had my 3 kids, I'm ready to, go on to my second chapter. Like, I'm ready to celebrate. I'm ready to have a cake and, enjoy my day once I do hit menopause. And so I think really going into it, it's really shaped by your mindset. How are you approaching this change? And I think that's important as women, that we address that and we think about it and we talk about it openly, and we feel okay if we're sad, and we feel okay if we're happy about it.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you, what is the weirdest story that a woman has, told you about she entering or hitting menopause?
I get a lot of stories about, obviously, changes in libido is a big one.
Yeah.
But also, when we're open and frank and we talk about things change down there. It gets a little bit drier. It almost feels like paper cuts, that we've talked about with other women, and we've had this experience. And I've had clients that are like, I thought I had an STD because it was burning and it was painful and it was dry and I didn't understand. And that's the last thing we want, is for women to feel that they've got this, something that they're not
Not
prepared
okay.
for.
Yeah.
Right. Then in reality, you're going through this natural transition. And had you had more education, you would be prepared for that and you'd know what steps to take, and you wouldn't be fearful, especially if you're in a partnership and you think you have an STD and you're like, well, where is this coming from? That is not a good feeling. And a lot of it is due to lack of education. But a lot of the women complain about, like, why is this hurting? Why is this changing? Why am I having to wear readers all the time, and new things like that are, part of the challenge and changes that come with menopause.
So do these changes that really happen down there, do they affect the relationship of women in their midlife?
It does. It does. And it could be, there's a couple things. You could have where your libido is just not there. And so you don't want to be intimate. That's one struggle. Another struggle is it's uncomfortable. I want to be intimate with my partner, but everything hurts down there. And there are treatment options for that. And the most important thing is that we're being open and honest. We're being open and honest with our partner, because they need to know this isn't about you. It's not that I don't want to be close to you, but this is what's going on. This is how I'm feeling. And let's get a solution together, and being open and honest with your physician. So, besides dryness, besides lack of libido, sometimes it's just fatigue. I want to be intimate with my partner, but I'm not getting good quality sleep
Right.
and I'm just exhausted. Fatigue is real when you're going through the change. It's just like puberty. When our teenagers are going through puberty, they're knocked out. Like, your body's doing a lot of things, just like pregnancy. You're exhausted. Your body is growing a human. Well, your body is making changes. That requires a lot of energy. It's going to impact you. It's going to impact your desire to want to be intimate, because really you just want to get some sleep.
Yeah, right. So it is somewhere you have to be transparent with your partner. You have to be open to the things changing. You have to
Yeah.
put them out, and at the same time accept yourself that these changes are happening to you. So, like we talked about the changes that happen down there, but the estrogen receptors are present also in the brain. So, what are the mental health? Does it affect the mental health?
There is a lot that goes into the mental health of a woman that's going through menopause. We do see those mood swings where it's almost, we call it meno rage, to be honest with you, where one
Mm.
minute you're fine and the next minute, someone didn't put the cap on the toothpaste and you're exploding and you're like, wait a minute, this doesn't make any sense. I'm really not this angry. And I think that's why, we get that rap of being this angry menopausal midlife lady. We're really not angry. We're just no longer in control of our own emotions. Increases, all of a sudden women will feel very anxious. They don't understand why they're feeling anxious. They're doing duties or tasks or activities that they've done in the past, but all of a sudden, heart palpitations are happening, which is a common menopause symptom. And they just don't feel comfortable, whatever it is. So anxiety increases, mood swings increase, whether it's, anger or happy or crying. Blues. I say blues because there is dips, and then there are women that go into a deep depression. And there's a big difference. And we want to make sure that we are addressing all of that. Sometimes it's just sadness, and you need to sit with that sadness, and that's okay. But if you're feeling it's something deeper, you really need to get help for that, because depression is a common one with menopause, not only because your hormones are changing, but because you feel so out of control of your body. And so it's scary. It feels lonely. You don't have answers. And so it's just a very intimidating experience sometimes.
So when talking about doctors, like our medical system on medicine is not really designed to treat menopause in the most effective way possible. While the other conditions or other diseases, I did not mention diseases here, but other conditions are very well researched upon. Menopause is not really that researched upon. So even when you go back and read our medical textbook, menopause has very few chapters, very few pages on it. It is, you know, even doctors are not really aware of how to deal with this. And while 50% of our population is going to be affected or is going through menopause at present, so what is it that you feel that the medical system or the doctors today should know about, and what kind of approach they should have about menopause?
Well, I think that's a great question. And it's one that obviously is really being discussed right now, as menopause is kind of being pushed out front, which is nice. When I started talking about it on social media, 5, 6 years ago, I felt like I was the only one. And obviously, I started to see more and more in my feed, and workshops happening and webinars and conversations. And I was like, yes, let's keep doing this. Let's keep the conversation going. And it's definitely more prevalent now than it was. But you are correct. They don't get the education. If they want additional education with regard to treating women in menopause, they have to seek it out. So that's one issue. The second issue is some of the doctors that have been around for a while, they're getting the old research. You know, 20 what is it 2002, we had a totally different view of HRT from old studies. They did a new study, things have changed. If there's still doctors that aren't up to date, they might not be suggesting HRT or hormone replacement therapy because they're using the old data. And so that's important to know too. So we have a lot of work to do. And so when my clients come to me and ask me about that, a couple things. I think it is totally okay to ask your daughter, is this in your wheelhouse? Do you feel like you have a good understanding of what a menopausal woman is going through? Do you have, expertise in this? It's okay to ask those questions. And hopefully your doctor will be honest and say, yes, I do. And I'm here to treat you, and I'm here to listen to you, and I'm going to give you a solution that works with your situation. Or they're open and honest and saying, not really. My strength is, delivering babies or whatever it is, but I will refer you to somebody that does have that strength. And that's where I'm hoping the conversation is going. I think it's important that women are doing their own research, so they are going in with knowledge. But I think it is so important to go ahead and ask the question, do you feel comfortable with this? I feel like I'm going through this. Is this something you can help me with, or do you think you should refer me out? And number two, if you don't feel like you're being listened to, you're not being heard, you're not being treated, you're not being taken seriously, then go get that second opinion, go get that third opinion, go get that fourth opinion. Open the conversations with your best friends, your coworkers. Where are they going? Are they getting treatment options that they feel that they're being serviced properly? And so again, it goes back to opening the conversation and being open and honest. And that's what we have to do, as, like, it's a sisterhood, and we have to support each other, and we have to share, and we have to, give as much guidance as we can.
As it is, menopause is not really researched upon. There is a lot more, research, a lot more advancement that the medicine can do. But as a woman, we should, talk more about it. We should be open about it, because all of us go through it. It is just under the cover. We tend to just, not really put it out in the open. So let's go to the treatment part. You have mentioned that you approach the treatment in three aspects, which is movement, nutrition, and mindset. So tell us about how do you treat the women.
So when a client comes to me, obviously it's important that they have their medical side. I'm not replacing that. I don't have the knowledge to do that. So making sure that you're getting checked out, you're getting your blood work done, you're working with a qualified physician. My side as a health coach is to work with what the physician came back with. These are the things that you're struggling with. These are where your blood levels are, whatever it is. This is what your blood tests tell us. And so when it comes to navigating this new season, I really focus on, like you mentioned, 3 pillars. And I always say there's 4. Mindset is an important one. Obviously, we have to go in understanding that it's not going to be like what it was when we're 20s and 30s. We have to be kind to ourselves. We have to be gentle on ourselves. We have to be open and honest. And so going in with a positive mindset of, I can get through this. I can definitely thrive in this, but it's going to take me a little bit of effort, and that's okay. We are worth the effort. So mindset is one, movement is another. And so does that mean we go out and do a bunch of cardio? Not necessarily, but movement. How do you want to move your body that your body feels blessed? Is it a walk? Is it swimming? Is it dancing? Is it strength training? There are things that we should be doing. We should be strength training because we want to make sure that we're keeping our bones healthy and strong. As we go through menopause, our bone health changes. And so strength training is super important. Cardiovascular is very important. As we're postmenopausal, our risk for heart disease increases because we have that lack of estrogen. So it's important that we're getting cardio. Does that mean I have to go sprinting every day? It could be one HIIT workout a week. It could be walking your dog, 5 times a week. It really is what fits best for your lifestyle and for your level of fitness. And so that's the second one, is movement, is how can we move our body so that we are making it feel good? And then the third one is nutrition. There's so much nutrition that affects our body. And so how can we make this better for ourselves? How can we work with our gut health? How can we clear up brain fog? How can we help our joints feel a little bit better? And a lot of it comes to nutrition. Food is great medicine if we use it properly. And then the fourth one is knowledge. Just knowing about this new season is so important. And so those are the 4 things that are going to get you through this, working with that physician. So those are the things that I always focus on when I'm talking to women.
So when women come to you, are they on HRT already? Or do you recommend them HRT? What is your idea about it?
Come because they're struggling with weight. And so they see, as a health coach, what can you do? I want to lose weight. And then we need to look at all the other stuff. Well, what's going on? Let's look. How is your sleep? How is your concentration? How is your cognitive health? How is your gut health? Let's talk about your menstrual cycle. When's the last time you went to the doctor? What's your blood work look like? And so we want to look at all of that. Most women don't know. I do get some, obviously, that are like, okay, my doctor said, here I am, I'm perimenopause. What do I do next? And then we can kind of start to make a plan. So it really is 50-50, but most of the time it's somebody that's like, okay, I just want to lose weight. Like, what do I need to do? And then we go through the whole thing of, okay, well, we're not 30 anymore. So we can't just be like, okay, now I'm just going to add exercise and everything's going to be great. It doesn't work that way anymore. But so yeah, it's a little bit of both. And we always want to make sure that we're approaching all the elements. So we always say it's a holistic approach, which just means that we're addressing the whole person. We're not just focusing on one thing.
So acceptance and a lot of self-love can navigate menopause better. So thank you so much, Karen, for being here today and making us see menopause in a different light altogether. Something which looks manageable, easier, and not scary anymore. Thank you so much.